and of course, if it's 6 to 7 feet, it's 6 to 7 feet higher than the tide, but also inland as well, because all that energy as it moves across the Pacific continues moving with it as it reaches shore, and that's what is able to push it on into those inundation zones. And we've seen in past tsunamis here in the islands the power of these waves, not only picking things up and moving up whole buildings, you know, intense amounts of just heavy things that these waves, the force, are able to carry inland a number of feet, hundreds of feet, in fact. And so there's a lot of power to these waves that people that haven't lived through it haven't or don't understand.
That's true. We have Beth Tokioka from Kauai County on the line. And Beth, we're just about 6 or 7 minutes away from when we might be seeing that wave. How's it going there right now?
Well, right now we're just kind of in a holding pattern, waiting to see, you know, what actually will happen. We apparently had a fairly organized and orderly evacuation of our coastal areas. We've got a lot of folks taking some shelter in our holding areas, and at this point it's just kind of waiting to see what the fallout and the aftermath might be.
Beth, we hope that you're safe in someplace safe, but are you able to see the ocean, or do you have any county cameras that are able to keep an eye on the ocean? You can tell us what it looks like.
We don't have, I'm actually at our emergency operating center in Lihue, so I'm very far away from the ocean and have no direct view. Really all we can see is what we're seeing on the TV feeds that we have here, a couple of webcams. So, you know, we will be shortly, you know, after we see whatever happens here, we'll be sending, you know, folks into these coastal areas to take a look at what may have happened. But again, we're just sort of in a wait-and-see mode at this point in time.
How has it been with the visitors to the islands there? Has it been pretty orderly and pretty quiet?
Yes, fairly much so. The hotels and resorts and condominiums have really taken very good care of their guests and either, you know, moved them up a few floors or move them out to one of our holding areas. We do have a lot of vacation rentals here on the island, so those folks, a lot of them are calling in here to Civil Defense to, you know, to find out what to do, so we're directing them maybe to the nearest holding area if they do happen to be close to the ocean. But our visitor industry has really done a great job getting the word out and making sure that we know where, you know, where there's space and where folks can go if they're in these coastal areas.
And those holding areas, how have the crowds been there? Has there been enough room for the folks that have needed some place to go?
I think many of them have gotten fairly crowded. There's only one that I know of that actually was closed because it was completely full. But we do have, especially up in the Kapa'a area, there are a lot of condos and hotels right there along the ocean. So we have had a good number of those sites fill up pretty full, as well as down in Poipu, because again we have a lot of hotel and visitor units down there right by the ocean, so they've been evacuated up to Koloa and to Kalaheo. So those areas are getting fairly full. But I think folks are as comfortable as they can be at this point. We are very grateful to the Department of Education for opening up a number of schools for us. And then hopefully, you know, if all goes well, we'll be able to get folks, you know, back into their rooms before too long.
What is the game plan as soon as you see what there might be?
Well, we'll have to go down and assess, you know, whatever damage there might be, and then depending on that, you know, we'll have to determine whether we can safely return people to those areas, or if not, you know, we would have to look at probably opening shelters and things like that, and, you know, taking an assessment of any property damage that might be experienced in those areas. So we'll just have to wait and see.
For these waves, specifically there on Kauai, are there particular areas that you're most concerned about with these waves coming into coastal areas?
Yeah, primarily our North Shore and our South Shore, and we do, there are a number of structures there and people there. So in terms of the evacuation, those were the two areas that we were really concerned about and put, a little extra focus on making sure people got out of there. But, you just never know how the wave might come in, how it might wrap around, which area of the island will be most vulnerable. So it'll be really important for us to be able to get in to see all areas of the island as soon as we can to determine, who really needs help and what the extent of the damage is.
I think historically, Kauai, Beth, you guys are prepared. You've been through so much in the last couple of decades.
Yes.
And so you guys take things seriously. I mean,
we do. I think. And we're well exercised. We've done this for real, and we do. Our civil defense folks, keep us well practiced throughout the year. And we're such a tight and small community that we all work together on a daily basis anyway, that I think that really helps us when we all get into the room together. We're not strangers, and we pretty much know what to do. So we have a great team in place, and I think we've prepared as well as we can, and now it's just waiting to see what happens.
Beth, we can hear the phone ringing in the background. When we were checking in with Keoki earlier in the night, he was saying that things had calmed down at their Emergency Operations Center. How is it there for you?
Well, right now, at this point, it is fairly calm. It's more of a wait and see at this point, since there's not a whole lot we can do. Of course, a lot of activity earlier in the evening, and our folks out on the road were very busy as well. But at this point, it's we're just sort of monitoring the media, monitoring the television feeds that we're getting to see what we can determine from that source, and then actually once the event has passed, really get out there to see what really has occurred.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Beth.
All right.
We will be checking in with you very soon.
Okay.
We're about
Thank you.
a minute or 2 minutes away.
That's right.
Thank you very much, Beth.
Once we know something, we will obviously